Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. Here are the headlines. Markets see no positive sentiment this Friday morning. The Nifty trades with a negative bias around 11,800. Most sectoral indices trade with losses. Open interest has surged in BEML as traders take fresh long positions in its stock futures. And Maruti is trading with losses after UBS downgraded the stock to sell and also cut its price target by over 2,000 rupees. And Aurobindo Pharma is trading at its lowest level in nearly a year after it received a warning letter from the US FDA for its Srikakulam plant.
Okay, those are the top headlines for you at this hour. Let's also tell you what's happening with the markets after a stellar move that one saw yesterday, but there is no follow-on buying which has come, and that could be on back of geopolitical tensions that we've seen in the Middle East, and we did see some of the Asian markets trading in the negative this morning. So Nifty right now down about 0.5%, premium on the futures is about 20 points, and the open interest is up about 2% as we speak. We'll have the Bank Nifty futures. Remember yesterday there was a lot of buying which came in on Bank Nifty futures after many trading sessions as the open interest was up about 14 to 15%. Though Bank Nifty is down about 0.5% as we speak, the OI is up about 4%. Just want to highlight the broader markets. I think there is slight bit of outperformance from the small cap index maybe, but the mid cap is down about 0.5%, and the market breadth will come up on your screen. Remember, for the first time yesterday in the month of June, market breadth was in favor of the advances, and right now it's once again in favor of the declines. And with markets trending lower today, India Volatility Index has moved higher. So India VIX is open with gains of about 3 to 3.5%, and that is trading right now around the levels of 14.5. What sort of range or what sort of positioning one should look at when it comes to the options data? Now the fresh weekly expiry, which will be next Thursday on June 27. The maximum open interest for this week expiry is at the 12,000 call, as you can see on your screen, and on the put side it is at the 11,700. So that's the range that one can watch out till the next expiry. But in today's trading session, you're seeing action coming on the call side for strikes like 11,800 now, which we did cross, by the way, yesterday, and we closed above that mark, 11,800, and out of the money call strike 11,900. Both of them have seen addition in the range of about 6 to 8 lakh shares as we speak, and whereas on the put side 11,600 is added 3.5 lakh shares, and the 11,700 put strike is seeing addition of about 3.5. Interestingly, even the 11,800 put strike today is active, so that too is seeing open interest addition of about 3 to 3.5 lakh shares. So I think almost 30 to 40% gains of yesterday have been reversed in today's trading session. Agam, let's see if the second half can throw a better picture.
Yeah, of course. But let's talk about some of those stocks which are in focus. And we will have a lot of stocks out there which will be buzzing on the back of open interest increase or decrease. Of course, BEML is right at the top of the list with a 12.5% increase in open interest, followed by Container Corp and Aurobindo Pharma. There are some concerns coming in with respect to a warning letter for its Srikakulam plant, which is why we're seeing fresh short positions in Aurobindo Pharma. Diwan Housing Finance comes out of the F&O ban, and surprisingly, it is actually advancing right now. Hexaware is the other one, doing well in trade. It has been on an up move of late, especially after its acquisition news. And let's take a look at some stocks which are seeing an unwinding in open interest. And I'm sure which will have a long list there as well. Jain Irrigation, Reliance Capital, Reliance Power. Well, all of them are looking at some amount of decline in open interest. Again, Jain Irrigation is seeing a further up move out there. It's now at around 25. We'll be keeping a close eye on that one too. Well, a lot of these counters will be in focus, but of course, let's not forget something like Jet Airways, which is currently locked in a lower circuit, even though it is in the futures and options space. And I reckon that the circuit will open in some time from now. But for now, that one is down around 10%. keep an eye on that one as well. Of course, there hasn't been any change in or exchange in open interest, but that's largely on account of the movements and the updates that we have in the cash market. Navneet.
Okay, that's about Jet Airways, but a lot of stocks moving around. Remember, yesterday there was a short covering bounce in many of these F&O counters, but specifically we want to highlight 3 stocks and take expert views coming in from our technical guest who will be there with us on the show. Aurobindo Pharma, Agam's already highlighted. The stock has been trading, by the way, below all its key moving averages, and for the month of June it has been an underperformer. It's down about 12%. On back of that news, Srikakulam unit has received some bit of warning letter, and probably that's the reason why the stock's lower. Hexaware, this has been performing pretty well. In fact, the stock's up for the 5th straight day. For the week, it's up 11%, and it has crossed its 200-day moving average this week. And the other one is UPL. The stock fell 8 to 9%. It's rebounded from those levels in today's trade, and it is still trading below its 50 to 100-day moving average. But right now, I think it seems to be one of the top gainers on Nifty.
All right, and on that note, we will get in the experts for a show. But before that, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding futures and options markets, you can call us on 022454044141. And of course, write to us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube with the Ask BQ hashtag. Let's get in our experts for the day. Then we have Rahul Shah of Motilal Oswal Securities and Ruchit Jain of Angel Broking joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you. And thanks for taking the time out. Rahul, I start with you. Well, confusing cues coming in for the likes of the Nifty. What are you doing with that? What's your view here?
Good morning. I think way we saw the yesterday's rally, and I think the technical support what it took earlier, but what we were anticipating was 11,640, and exactly it did not break that, and then from there we saw a good bounce back yesterday. And interestingly, if we look at a lot of large cap stocks or heavyweights are still showing a good sign, and which have done quite well in last few sessions. So we feel that the markets should continue to do well for another 50-60 odd points on Nifty front from here onwards, as well as from yesterday's closing. So what we believe is, I think 11,870 is the immediate target what we feel on the Nifty front.
Okay, that's the view on Nifty. Rahul, are you recommending to take any positions with regard to on Nifty or on Bank Nifty? Rahul, that's for you. On the index, Nifty or Bank Nifty, are you recommending taking any position either on the futures or on the option side?
I think both. I think, as I said, Nifty as well as Bank Nifty, we are bullish on. So I think Bank Nifty also we saw a smart rally yesterday, and I feel that again 30,950 is the levels what we have been looking at on the Bank Nifty side. So best way to play in this volatility is through a option front. So I think we've been recommending Nifty 11,800 call, which is trading at 78. Keep a stop loss of 65 and target of 105. And Bank Nifty, what we would recommend is to buy a 31,000 call, which is at 203. Keep a stop loss of 85 and target of 130.
Okay, Ruchit, good morning to you as well. And thanks for joining in. What's your view on the markets, and how are you playing out some of these cues?
Yeah, hi, very good morning to everyone. Well, in yesterday's trading session, we had seen the markets have given a decent bounce from the lower level of support of 11,600, 650. Now, if you look at the options positions of this monthly expiry, then 11,700 put option has added significant amount of open interest in yesterday's session, and now this is the one. This is the strike with the highest open interest in the put options. So we believe that now the support base, which was earlier 11,600, has now shifted higher to 11,700 for this expiry. And on the higher side, you can see the highest open interest is right at 12,000 call options. So if you look at the risk reward ratio from the current level of this entire range, which could pan out in this weekly expiry, then we are trading quite close to the support end, which is 11,700. So I think that the downside seems to be quite limited from here on, at least for this expiry. Keeping 11,700 as a base, as a support base, one should look to trade with a positive bias and use this today's intraday decline as a buying opportunity. So 11,800 call option we are recommending to go long one at current levels, keeping stop loss below 26, expecting target around 115 to 120.
That's pretty interesting. By the way, both our experts are recommending to buy the 11,800 call strike on Nifty in today's trade. Okay, let's get stock specific. Rahul, I'm going to come to you. In terms of stock futures, what are you recommending in trade today?
I think the clear winner is, I think, what we've seen is the corporate banks, and then we've seen ICICI Bank again near to its 52-week high. So the structure is in ICICI Bank is quite promising. The good longs built up also in the F&O front. So my sense is, I think one should go long on ICICI Bank with a stop loss of 426 and target of 448.
All right, and Ruchit, what about you? Stocks that look interesting to you today?
I have a couple of buy recommendations. One is a buy call in Coal India. Technically the stock had given a breakout recently, and in today's trading session the stock has resumed its positive momentum. If you look at options front, the 260 call option and 270 call option both have been witnessing unwinding in today's trading session. So if this call writers go for cover, then the stock could move higher further from current levels. So one can go long in Coal India futures with stop loss below 258, expecting target around 276 before this expiry. And Exide Industries is another call that we are recommending. The prime reason is that the stock is trading around its long-term support. In the recent decline in the price, we have not seen any formation of short positions. So we expect, since the prices are trading around its support, we expect the long build-up to coming in near term. So Exide futures can be bought at current levels with stop loss below 195.50, expecting target around 214.
Okay, just to mark out Jet Airways, as I was suggesting earlier, it's currently locked in a lower circuit of around 10%. And of course, this is not because of anything else other than the fact that the exchanges have set some norms, some rules, and it's currently at around 56.6. Of course, we all know the news is that it will be admitted to insolvency. And that, of course, is a big takeaway. And this follows after the big up move of nearly 90% in yesterday's day of trade. But Vinita, what's the reason behind the circuit if the stock is still in the futures and options space?
Again, this happened this week, I think on Tuesday as well, when the stock opened lower and there was a circuit which was levied by the exchanges, and that is in consultation with SEBI, and they had informed all the brokers that we will be levying a circuit. I think exchanges have some norm that in the first few minutes of trade, I think between 5 to 7 minutes, if there are no minimum 25 trades from 10 different UCC, that's the unique client code,
right.
Even if a stock is in the futures and options market, they can't levy a circuit. And I think that happened on Tuesday after consulting SEBI. Probably that's the same condition that they would have levied today as well. When will the circuit open? I think they would have informed all the brokers about when will that happen. But I guess on Tuesday it happened around 12 o'clock. They opened the circuit to about 20%, 30%, and then I think what we witnessed was a free fall for Jet Airways. Probably that's going to be replicated in today's session as well.
Right. Fair enough. So we'll be watching out for that. And it's an important feature to note as well, especially considering the stock has been in focus when it comes to a lot of traders of late. But we move on and talk about some stocks that we want to address besides just Jet Airways. And right at the top, we have something like a Hexaware. Of course, the news is out. It's made a large acquisition because of which it is going to see an increase in growth in the upcoming financial year. That said, we've seen steady gains in Hexaware Technologies as well. We've seen steady gains in the open interest as well in the June futures. If we can actually take a look at how the stock has done over the last 1 month or so, it's actually done well, I would say reasonably well, at least in the last 1 week. On a 1 month basis, it's gained around 8%, but a lot of these gains are after its announcement of buying out Mobiquity. That said, there has been an increase on a 3-month basis up to 12-13%. Ruchit, I'm going to come back to you on Hexaware Technologies. Strength seen in the counter, but what is your view here? Levels you'd watch out for? Would you buy, sell, or, for now, hold?
So Agam, if I look at recent historical data, then since mid of Feb, the stock prices had consolidated in the range of 370 to 330, which was the 40 rupees range for almost 4.5 months. Prices have given a breakout above the higher end of the range, and usually if we come according to technical analysis, then this 40 rupees range should be added to the breakout level, which gives us a target projection of around 410 rupees. Even on the derivative segment, last 2 trading sessions there have been no open interest addition, which clearly indicates fresh long formations in derivative segment as well. So at current levels, I would advise that if any existing long portions are there, they should continue to hold on, since the breakout level was around 372. So if we get any minor declines, maybe around 376 levels also, then use those declines as a buying opportunity with stop loss below 365 and expect target around 410.
Okay, this has definitely outperformed the markets for the week. It's seen gains of about 10 to 11%. The other one which has come under selling pressure, and that's Aurobindo Pharma, after it has received warning letter from US FDA for its Srikakulam plan, and that's the reason why such a sharp fall has been seen. And there are fresh short positions that are coming in for this counter. Well, the pharma stocks have been laggards, and if you look at Aurobindo Pharma, this too has been trading below all its key moving average. And in the month of June, this month, the stock has seen correction of about nearly 12%. Rahul, if I could come to you, looking at today's fall, where should one look at the support now, and would you recommend taking any fresh trade on Aurobindo Pharma?
I think what we've been seeing is that I think entire pharma pack as a whole have been an underperformer, and the entire pharma index looks on a weaker note. So I think large cap as well as all mid cap stocks have been in on a sell-off mode. So if looking at Aurobindo also, I think this was the last among the lot where the stock started falling. So I think still there's some more downside on the Aurobindo. So I think a good shorts build up in the stock, and technical structure also looks weak. Near-term support of the stock was I think 618, and then that has broken. So my sense is now that again the stock can go to I think 570 or odd levels from the current price. So I think one can definitely initiate a short on Aurobindo with a stop loss of 605.
Okay, and of course, Aurobindo, while it looks very, very weak, another stock that has looked weak of late is UPL, that's earlier known as United Phosphorus. Of course, UPL currently is up 4%, but this is after a sharp drop around nearly 12% in the preceding three trading sessions. It's seen 5% increase in open interest today. So, actually, you can't really count this as fresh buying. I'm sure a lot of this will be on account of some amount of shorts being covered based on the kind of movement that we've seen on the last 7 odd days. As you can see on your screen there, it's down around 11%. Ruchit, confusing cues, but would you take this opportunity today to go ahead and sell UPL?
See, if you look, the last time when the prices tested this 840, 850 was in the last week of February. So for the price to move higher from 840 to the recent high of 1050, it took almost 3 to 4 months. And for that, again, 1050 to 850 correction just took 3 to 4 trading sessions. So I think there would be a lot of long positions which are there in the system recently, which have been built in last 4 months, and they would be stuck in the stock. And every bounce back, those traders would look to exit from the position because of the sharp sell-off that we have seen in last couple of trading sessions. Today there has been a pullback move, but I think it is just because of the oversold momentum readings that this pullback move should resist around 940, 935 kind of range. So I would wait for a bounce back up to 935 to 940. When the stock comes in that range, one can use that as an opportunity to exit from existing longs if any, and also create fresh short positions, keeping stop loss below 955, and expect the stock to retest its yesterday's low for around 840.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Lupin. Remember, brokerages could be highlighting concerns. Deutsche came out with a report today, HSBC yesterday, but both of them have a positive view on UPL. Let's start taking some queries. Brijesh Pandya on Facebook, he's written to us on. He's bought Lupin futures, one lot at about 723. Let's just pull up the futures of Lupin and check where that's currently trading. 721. His level is at 723. Rahul, how are the charts of Lupin looking like? What would you advise Brijesh to do? Should he hold on to his positions? If yes, what should be the target?
I think we discussed earlier also that an entire pharma index and entire pharma stocks looks on a weaker note. So looking at the structure of Lupin, again, the stock is trading at a lower band and near to its 52-week low of 696, which is a 52-week low, and it's just trading near to that. So I think that overall the structure is still weak on the Lupin side, but I think the stock has a support of 712. So I think with that strict stop loss, he can trail it, and if it breaks, I think I would advise him to exit, and on a upper note it can test I think 735 or odd levels.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Moving on to yet another interesting stock, that's Ashok Leyland. We have a question from Tamil Selvam. He says he's bought the Ashok Leyland 87.5 call, and he's paid a premium of around 1.15. I reckon, if I'm not mistaken, the premium currently stands at around 1.7, 1.8. Okay, it's come off to a certain extent. It's currently at 1.4. The underlying is at 86.75, so it's just a notch away from going into the money at around 87.5. Ruchit, your view on Ashok Leyland? We have less than a week to go for expiry now. How would you be placed when it comes to this specific call that the gentleman's taken?
So if you look at the data, then it seems that the stock would be a lot volatile in the coming week because of the options front. The 80 rupees put option has the highest open interest, whereas the highest open interest on the call side it's placed in the around 90 rupees. So I think 80 to 90, this is the 10 rupees range which have been indicated by the options data where the stock could trade. I believe that on the higher side, if the stock comes around 88, 90 rupees, then it would be wise to exit from this from this option position and take profits whatever available. Rather, if I would also recommend an alternate trade if he wants to take any trade in this auto sector only. Hero Motoco call option can be bought currently of 2700 call option, which is now trading around 32 rupees. Because if we see that there has been fresh long build up seen today in Hero Motoco, so I think if the entire auto space give any sort of positive momentum before expiry, then rather than Ashok Leyland, Hero Motoco could show some outperformance. So if he wants to make a switch, then he can go long on Hero Motoco 2700 call option around 30 rupees, expecting target around 80 before expiry.
Okay, our next query comes in on YouTube from Harshvardhan. He wants to know if it's the good time to short, that is to ride the 11,700 call. Harshvardhan, just to tell our viewers again that both our experts, Ruchit and Rohit, today have given call on 11,000, buying the 11,800 call. Nevertheless, Ruchit, I'm going to come back to you and take your view. Would you recommend somebody to ride the 11,700 call? I know the premium is higher, so you get to pocket more, but is the risk higher than the reward here?
Certainly the risk is much more higher than the reward, because if you see then 11,700 put option which we discussed at the start of the show has the highest open interest. So it doesn't look like that the index would breach this 11,700 support mark before this expiry. So I would recommend not to short any kind of this 11,700 call options at current levels. In fact, if he can take a contra trade to what his view is, then say 11,700 put option, which is the highest open interest, look to write that put option whenever we see declines that we have witnessed in intraday session today.
Okay, all right. There's another stock that we do want to address right now, and that's Kajaria Ceramics, which is also under pressure. It's down 3.3%. Let's pull that up too. And okay, so there you have it. And we've seen about increase of around 3.5% in open interest. Of course, if we can also pull up how it's done in the last 1 month and take a look at how things have panned out for this particular stock. It should come up on your screen, and there you have it. That's down 7%. So it's moved down largely in tandem with some of the cues here. And of course, on a 3-month basis, it's gained around 0.5%. That said, Rahul, if I can come to you on Kajaria Ceramics, how is this one looking to you, and how would you trade this?
Obviously, today we've seen some downside, and we've seen unwinding in the stock. But the stock is a good support at 567 or odd levels. So my view is that I think it can take a hold at 567, and I would not advise to go short at current levels. So my sense is I think it's a no trade zone from the current levels.
Avoid taking any trade on Kajaria Ceramics on the downside. Sudhanshu Ranjan writes to us, and he wants views on Sun Pharma in the futures and options market, and he also wants fundamental view. Sudhanshu will be only able to provide you with the F&O view. If you have any fundamental queries on any of the companies, you can tune in at 12:30 p.m. and write to us. Having said that, Ruchit, Sun Pharma was up 4% yesterday, down another 2% in today's session. Of course, it's been a laggard on YTD basis as well, but do you foresee any trade on Sun Pharma in the near term?
I think overall it has been an underperformer in the recent past, and until we get any signs of any fresh long build-ups, I think one should tend to avoid taking any kind of long positions in this stock. The near-term resistance is placed around 398, 397. So only if one gets if the stock gives a breakout above 398, then one should look to enter the stock.
All right, and I believe we have one more query on Exide, which is also on Facebook. So I'm going to take that one up as well. That's okay. So we don't have too much movement in Exide, but it's currently at around 203. Okay, Rahul, I take this one up with you. How would you help our viewer with what to do with Exide right now?
I think most of the space in auto and auto ancillary have been on a weaker side, and considering looking at Exide also, it's at the lower trading at the lower end of it, near to its 52-week low of 194. So the structure definitely looks weak. But interestingly, the stock Exide, if you look at it, has been a range bound for quite some time. So I think stock has got a support at 199.50 or something. So you can hold longs in the position, and it can bounce back at 210 or odd levels.
Okay, all right. Well, that's as far as Exide's concerned. But very quickly, Navneet, how the market's looking right now? There is some amount of weakness.
Yep, the weakness continues. Nifty is still trading below the mark of 11,800. Remember, in the last 2 to 3 sessions, whenever we've breached the 50 DMA, that we're pretty much above that mark. But that's going to be the support on the downside, which is somewhere about 11,680 or 90 thereabouts. So Nifty is still down. Volatility continues to be on the higher side. Just want to highlight few stocks. Bitla Soft, that's the one which has come under pressure. That's down 3%. Manappuram Finance, we've been highlighting how this one has been an outperformer in a weak market also. So that's seen some profit booking in today's trade. Manappuram Finance is down 3%. Kadila, Healthcare, Glenmark, all the pharma counters are down. And Indigo too has seen some selling pressure, at least in the morning trade. That's down about 2%. On the gaining side, stocks which rebounded yesterday, and these are all your high beta counters like Jain Irrigation, Dewan Housing, Agam, they continue to do well. And MRPL and ICICI Pru are the other F&O counters which are seeing some bit of gains in today's session of about between 2 to 2.5%.
All right. Well, there you have it. On that note, I'm going to thank both our experts for joining us and taking us through their views on the markets, also solving some of our viewer queries. Don't forget, for more updates on the F&O space, you can also, of course, check our website out, especially the futures and options pages.
Well, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. Thanks a lot for watching, but stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.